Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is entitled Parents Think They Can Park in My Driveway Because Their Kids Are Cranky and Want to Get the Beach Now. Gets his car towed and nearly arrested. I used to live on the bottom floor of two-story house in a very popular beach town in North Carolina. I was mid-20s. The upstairs was rented out to 4 college-aged guys. So, 5 ppl, 5 cars driveway built for 4, so one of us would either be on the grass or in a paid spot. If you had bills with your name and address, the city would give you a pass to park in certain paid spaces. So not a big deal, but finding a spot in the middle of summer was hard. The house is maybe 100 yards to the beach, pretty short walk, 5 minutes tops with beach gear and little ones. I would leave to work at 6:30 a.m. and return around 5 or 6 p.m. By the time I got home, most of the crowds would be gone, so a paid spot was easy for me to get. So, I'd typically leave the driveway for the upstairs guys. One day I was running late and didn't get out of my house till nearly 8. The other guys have left and the driveway's empty. I'm walking out to my car and of course the lots are already 90% full or more. As I'm crossing the street, I see a minivan coming up and pull into my driveway. I didn't want to recognize it, so I waited to see if I knew them or they knew the upstairs guys. Out steps polo shirt, visor, bowling short dad and overly peppy mom with 3 screaming kids, obviously no one I know. I backtrack up. Excuse me, do you know the tenants upstairs or have permission to park here? EM. It doesn't matter, no one's parked here and Billy, Bobby and Brandy have to get to the beach. Me. There's 5 people living there, myself included, and we need to be able to park. EM. Oh, so where's your car if you live there? Me. In that spot there because I have a pass and ED. Don't lie to us, you're here just the same as us and upset we know how to park for free. Me. I'm not lying, dude, it's 8 a.m. I'm wearing my work uniform. EM. We don't need to listen to you, we're going to park, and you can do whatever you want. My children have to get to beach. You're ruining our vacation, so go away. Meanwhile, the kids are climbing on my fence and trees in and out of the street. Me. Okay, I'll just have you towed, and you can deal with it later. ED gets in my face practically nose to nose. Try it and see. This isn't your house, you're just a little shit. Mind you, I'm 5'11" and roughly 190 pounds, fairly good shape. Me. Okay, have a nice day. So, I went to my car and waited till they were pretty much at the beach like I said, very short walk, so I go inside, look up a tow service on the other side of town. Hello, yes. I'd like to report a car illegally parked on my property, address, 123rd Street, name. Sir, that's an hour away. Yay, I know, I'm not paying, that's their problem. Okay. Be there in about an hour and a half. Called my boss, not gonna be in today. Explained what happened. He's pretty easygoing guy, told me to keep him informed. Tow truck arrives, van gone. I leave my car in the spot and wait. It's 10:30 a.m. or so by now. Sometime around 2 or 3 p.m. there is very angry knock at my door. Internal thoughts, this gonna be fun. Imagine the shock when I answered the door, beer in hand, grinning like an idiot. Me. Can I help you? ED and EM. Where is our van? How did you get here? Me. Oh yay, here's the card. Had it towed across town, gonna be fun cab ride. Shut the door in their face. More angry yelling and knocking. Me. Yes? ED, trying to get in my house. You better get us our van back, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'll have you arrested. Me. Get out of my house and call the cops, not gonna change anything. I managed to shove him out of the door, get it closed and locked. Now I wait. Next 20 minutes or more angry knocking and yelling. Finally, about 4 p.m. I see some blue lights and there's a much more polite knock at my door. I grew up on the beach, it's a small number of locals. I know 70% of the locals, police, bartenders, shop owners, residents. I know a lot of people on the island. Me. Oh, hey Garrett, how is it going? Garrett. Yay, it's good. These people say you stole their van and broke into this house. Me. Nope, they pulled into the driveway as I was leaving for work, pulled an attitude, walked away, said I couldn't do anything. So called Lou on the other side of town. Van's there, I even gave them his card and offered to let them use my phone. He's lying, he stole our car. I demand he be arrested. Storming up behind the officer, if you don't arrest him, I'll have you fired. This is ridiculous, blah blah. Garrett. Sir, back up, I'm going to figure this out. Now shoving past the officer. This is bullshit. Working his way into my house again, Garrett is able to pull him out and manages to get him pressed up against his cop car. Sir, you are trespassing now. Looking over at me, would you like to press charges? Me. Can you keep him in your car until they get a cab? Garrett. Yay, I mean I've got to get statements and everything. So, I gave my statement, went inside, grabbed a beer, went out the back door, up the back steps and around to the second floor porch, and there I sat smiling till a cab came about 5:30. My upstairs neighbors showed up, but they didn't play any part in the story. The next story is titled, How Dare You Park in Front of My House? When I was in college, I rented a house a few blocks off campus with 2 friends. We were the only students on the block, so at first, we were not exactly welcomed. But we made an effort to be good neighbors. We didn't have any loud parties and always kept our property clean. The neighbors on one side were an older couple, and we always shoveled their sidewalk when it snowed and took their garbage cans in. These houses were all close together and none of them had driveways, so everyone parked on the street. When we moved in, our landlord told us that the unwritten law on the block was that each residence owned the parking space in front of their house. Okay, we can live with that. We were students and didn't use our cars very much, so 2 of us usually parked in a university lot a couple of blocks away. Our other neighbor was a single guy. He wasn't particularly friendly, so we mostly ignored him. Somehow, we pissed him off, so he started harassing us with petty stuff. He had a motorcycle that he parked in a shed in his backyard. To get in and out, he had to ride right under our bedroom windows and made a point to always reverend his engine a few times. One day the older couple next door got a flat tire. As I was changing it for them, a cop pulled up and asked what I was doing. I said I was just helping my neighbor who was standing right there. The cop said he had received a report about gangbangers stripping a car. Another time my battery died and one of my housemates brought his car over so we could jump start it. As we were fiddling with the jumper cables, a cop pulled up because someone had reported us for operating an unlicensed auto repair business. The cop was pretty cool. He said the complaint came from the single guy who was some kind of supervisor in the city roads department. Even though the cops knew these calls were bogus, they had to be investigated. One night my housemate's girlfriend came to visit. She wasn't aware of the parking rule and parked in front of the neighbor's house. He came home at about 2 a.m., found his space taken and called the police. We were awakened by the flashing red lights. We went outside to find a cop ticketing her car, and a tow truck getting ready to haul it away. So why was our friend being ticketed? She was parked on a public street. The cop explained that she had parked across the neighbor's driveway. What driveway? He pointed to a place where a section of the curb had been removed. We assume he got his buddies on the city road department to cut the curb so he could easily get his motorcycle in and out of his backyard. She said she'd move the car. Sorry. Too late. The truck was already here. But she could pay him the $50 tow charge right then. If he took it in, she'd have to pick it up the next day and pay an additional $35 per day storage fee. That's a lot of money for college kids, but we managed to scrape it up. The cop apologized for the inconvenience but said he had to enforce the law, then handed her a ticket for $20. The next day I went to the public library and looked up the specific ordinance we were cited for violating. Yup. There it was in black and white. Any vehicle parked on a public street that blocks access to any driveway is subject to fine and may be towed at the owner's expense. We waited a few days to exact revenge. After the guy came home and parked his car in his spot, we called the police non-emergency number and reported an illegally parked car. In a few minutes a cop pulled up. He looked at the curb and decided it wasn't a driveway. That's when we handed him a copy of the ticket his colleague had written the previous week. We also showed him the Polaroid snapshots we took of the car and the driveway. Then we asked if there was one set of parking laws for permanent residents and another for students. He pondered that for a minute and started writing a ticket. That was about when the homeowner came out and argued that it was his own driveway. The cop explained that the ordinance makes no distinction for blocking your own driveway. The cop finished the ticket and suggested he park somewhere else. We played that game about once every 2 weeks until one day a crew from the city road department showed up and replaced the curb. The next story is titled, "Have me work throughout the pandemic, promote me, and then don't accommodate my disability? You can pay my short-term disability insurance for that." Let me go a little backstory first. I started working at Walmart before the COVID-19 pandemic happened as a full-time apparel employee. I happened to have grand mal epilepsy that started in my mid-20s, around 2015. I'm also quite understanding of other people's disabilities and often try to work with them, since I can relate to having issues. Example, I use hand gestures and/or writing for deaf coworkers. This helps with basic communication that most hearing people don't bother with, and it's normally appreciated that I do this. I got to stay in that exact same position throughout 2020 and part of 2021. Naturally, I had to still go to work as an essential employee, deal with anti-masking idiots, and worry about both my parents, who also work in retail. I managed to get myself promoted to the digital shopping department by transferring stores and pointing out certain key skills I have that are really useful in retail in 2021. I had politely asked for the minimal requirements from my department manager of 1. Being able to take medication at work, and 2. Not having to bring orders out to cars because I lack what's known as an aura. Basically, summed up here, I can't sense seizures coming, though I don't have them very often due to medication. A grand mall plus busy parking lot at work seems a bad idea. My department manager agreed to this condition as long as I did other work to help out the digital team instead, which was completely reasonable to ask for in my opinion. So as per the request, for a lot of closing shifts I'd take up phone duty, pre-set up the orders to go out, and/or do returns for the department. The issue here was the personal department person. She kept forgetting about my condition, repeatedly, over the next year. This was despite me bringing in medical notes from my neurologist for my file, pointing this out more than once on why I shouldn't be scheduled solo, and having the department manager talk to her. After over a year, she scheduled me completely solo for a closing, which I noticed and texted my department lead about. I did the official suggestion of hers, despite my thoughts that corporate Walmart was likely even dumber than her on basic disabilities. I only asked for the exact same things I asked my department manager for, both very, very logical and minimal accommodation requests. As I suspected, Walmart's Sedgwick said, "We can't do this unless you change departments." All departments suggested either wouldn't work, due to time and/or location, or they were back at the same level as apparel, which would lower my position and pay. Sedgwick put me on an automatically placed LOA, after a few days, without my permission. This was to allow me to figure out what I should do over the next 4 months. I called up and asked the Walmart Benefit Center about this. As of late 2019, Walmart signed all of their employees up for a free to the employees short-term disability insurance without officially telling them. I filed to get this insurance to pay for my entire LOA, politely my situation to a total of 3 people, and was given the short-term disability payments, with back pay for exactly when they put me on leave. I'd rather have my paycheck and insurance stick around for a while despite Walmart and Sedgwick being idiotic. I quit Walmart, after having gotten holiday employment with Target, for 2 months at that point. The last story is titled, "My parents' friend keeps contacting me asking me to do free labor even after I have told her no. Multiple times. This all started around the beginning of this year. They are in their 60s to 70s. This woman is very wealthy. They own multiple homes and own multiple store locations for their business. However, one thing they, husband and wife, never seem to understand is finding workers. I have personally always been a hard worker, and while working as a bagger for my first job I would routinely get random people offering odd jobs. Word got around and my mother's friend found out. Since she was a friend, I did not expect to get much of anything from her. I was not even expecting her to pay me. I was simply doing it out the kindness of my heart. They had recently bought a house, and since they are very wealthy, they wanted to renovate practically everything in the house within the first week or so. From the yard to the attic to the closets. Everything needed to change for the most part. During these few weeks I would constantly get texts, calls from her asking me when I was available when I'm coming again. I was expecting this to last maybe 2 days. However, the texts, calls still go on to this day. She offered to pay me, but I never asked for a price since I just wanted out. At first, I had brought 3 of my friends, and after the first day they said they would never come back. We got paid $100 for 3 full days of work. Then as I started going alone, she would pay me maybe every 2 to 3 days, and at the time I was working and going to school among other stuff. As time went on, I started to let her know in the most respectful way that I was not interested in working for her anymore. They would work from home, so I would witness a lot of things that went on behind the scenes of their business, as I did do some things for their business as well. She even fired someone right in front of me with only me, her and the person in the room. Another time she called me at around 8 p.m. and told me it was urgent. Someone had come to their home on the security cam, and even for me it was crazy. They had a couple of boxes on their front door. So, she wanted me to move them inside. Some of the boxes were massive and I simply could not move them on my own. I was literally taking to her while she was in another country trying to move these boxes. She then asks why I can't call my friends to come and move the boxes. For one, they live around 30 minutes from me. 2, it was 8 p.m. on a weekday. 3, why could they not just have thought about this before they went on trip? I was like, I'm not calling my friends on a weekday at 8 p.m. to come and move a couple of boxes. Then another time I was meeting her husband for the first time, and they invited me dinner at a restaurant. She complained so much it was crazy. I felt bad for the workers. Another time again, I was helping both her son and daughter move, and I don't understand why they are like this, but she wanted to keep all their stuff. All their garbage, clothes, just random stuff. They had hundreds of books, and her daughter was a scientist, so she had a bunch of lab stuff that needed to be handled with care. It took me around 1 week to empty 2 rooms and drive them around 30 minutes to their other house. So, she would just ignore the fact that I said I can't work anymore and continue to contact me. This went on for a while, but this week was crazy. So, they go on a lot of vacations almost every week. They blow money like it's nothing. They go for 2 days, then they come back. For a couple of weeks, they would call me to bring them to help them pack their bags, then bring them to the airport, and by the evening they would be back. They call me and tell me they need someone to cut their lawns while they are gone. At first, I tell them I don't have a lawnmower, as they were expecting me to buy my own. Then they keep asking me. Then they tell me to literally drive from my house to go to their houses, to open their back gate and watch the lawn guy cut the grass. Then I said I can't, and they ignored it. Then they said they would buy me lawnmower to cut grass, and that is where we are at right now. Never in my life have I had someone so entitled in my life. Edit. So, a lot of people are asking why I did not block them. Well, like I said, she is very close in our family, and yes, I get it, you can cut off family members, but I would rather cut them off respectfully. That is just my way of working things out. Although yes, I may have been exploited for my time. I did make some money off of them, as they always had work for me at the end of the day. I was practically able to live off their payments while saving the rest of my income from my jobs and so on. I don't know about you guys, but I'm broke. I could always use the money. However, I will make sure to take your advice and either make a clear plan with them or move on with my life. If I had to explain what kind of person she is, well, she is kinda like a Karen. And although I hate that word, it's easy for people to understand it. However, she does not scream or do anything stupid for the most part. It's like talking to a high school principal. They just make you feel dumb. As if you were wrong. But since she knows me, she treats me kinda well, and I am practically excluded from her nonsense behavior for the most part. Thank you for listening.